Why do you attempt adding positive habits while maintaining destructive patterns that undermine every improvement you make? You know that moment when you successfully establish new, productive routine, training consistently, working focused, eating clean, then wonder why results remain mediocre despite genuine effort, not recognizing that bad habits you never addressed are quietly sabotaging everything you build, like structural rot-destroying house from within, regardless of fresh paint applied to exterior. Miyamoto Musashi wrote, "Go Rin No Sho, knowing death was approaching." Between 1643 and his death in June 1645, he isolated himself in Reigandō cave, systematically documenting 40 years of undefeated combat experience. His writings reveal unexpected emphasis not on positive practices to adopt, but on destructive patterns to eliminate completely. Samurai understood fundamental principle modern self-improvement ignores. Addition without subtraction produces mediocrity because bad habits create constant drag, coefficient, overwhelming positive practices. Single bad habit maintained can negate 3 good habits established, making elimination more valuable than addition when pursuing capability transformation. The 7 bad habits I'm breaking down in this video are extracted from Musashi's writings and documented samurai elimination protocols. Not minor annoyances to reduce, but fundamental patterns to remove completely. Not balanced moderation approach, attempting to limit destructive behaviors. Absolute elimination, recognizing certain patterns, cannot coexist with excellence regardless of frequency or intensity. Understanding this framework earlier would have prevented decades attempting to improve while maintaining incompatible habits, creating frustrated confusion about why sincere efforts produced minimal results despite genuine commitment and consistent execution. I'm organizing these 7 habits into 3 categories: cognitive destroyers, impairing decision-making capability; energy drains, depleting execution resources; and social toxins, poisoning relationship environments. This structure matters because attempting to eliminate social toxins while maintaining cognitive destroyers means clearing external environment while internal thinking remains compromised, and attempting to address energy drains without fixing cognitive patterns means managing symptoms while maintaining root causes. Let's start with cognitive destroyers. Cognitive destroyers. Habit 1. Reactive complaining. First destructive habit is reactive complaining, automatically expressing dissatisfaction about circumstances beyond control. Eliminate all complaint about unchangeable situations. Remove automatic negative commentary. Stop victim narrative completely. Reactive complaining destroys strategic capability by training external locus of control, where you habitually attribute outcomes to circumstances rather than actions, creating learned helplessness and passive response patterns. Most people complain automatically when difficulty appears. Traffic is terrible, weather is bad, colleague is incompetent, circumstances are unfair, creating continuous narrative where external factors control outcomes rather than your responses determining results. This pattern seems harmless venting, but actually rewires cognition, establishing victim mentality, where you unconsciously seek evidence proving you're powerless rather than identifying actionable responses, creating perpetual reactive state incompatible with warrior effectiveness. Why complete elimination rather than reduced frequency becomes clear examining pattern reinforcement and neural pathway development. Each complaint instance, however minor, reinforces victim narrative and external attribution pattern, strengthening neural pathways, producing that thinking automatically. Reducing complaint frequency from constant to occasional doesn't eliminate pathway, just reduces activation frequency, leaving pattern intact, ready to reactivate under stress. Complete elimination starves pathway, forcing brain to develop alternative response. Problem identification followed by action planning. creating completely different thinking pattern, producing strategic orientation rather than reactive victimhood. Research on learned helplessness confirms that eliminating victim narrative entirely is necessary for developing agency mindset, because mixed messages maintain confusion about control location. Consider typical day encountering multiple difficulties. Traffic delay makes you late, weather ruins plans, technical problem disrupts work. Complaint pattern means automatically expressing frustration about each. This traffic is terrible, making me late. Weather always ruins my plans. This technology never works when needed. Each complaint reinforces narrative that circumstances control your experience, training passive response. Now consider identical day with elimination protocol. Traffic delay occurs. You immediately plan alternative route or contact affected party about timing rather than complaining. Weather ruins plans. You immediately identify indoor alternative rather than lamenting conditions. Each situation produces action planning rather than complaint, reinforcing agent narrative where you control responses regardless of circumstances. Track your actual complaint frequency honestly for one complete day. Every time you express dissatisfaction about circumstance beyond your control, weather, traffic, other people's behavior, technology failures, general life circumstances, note it explicitly. Most people discover they complain dozens of times daily about unchangeable factors, creating constant victim narrative reinforcement they never consciously recognized. Because complaints feel like harmless observations rather than capability, destroying pattern training, external attribution automatically. Implementation requires establishing zero-tolerance elimination protocol, replacing complaint reflex with action planning response. When difficulty appears and complaint impulse emerges, interrupt immediately, asking, "What can I control in this situation?" Forcing shift from victim narrative to agent response. Initially, this feels artificial and frustrating because complaint provides emotional release, while action planning requires effort. However, after 14 days strict elimination, you notice fundamental perspective shift. Difficulties automatically trigger strategic thinking rather than emotional venting because neural pathway has rewired. Additionally, implement complaint interruption with others. When someone complains, ask, "What are you going to do about it?" Training both of you toward action orientation. Track subjective sense of control and problem-solving capability, noting whether elimination produces dramatically increased agency feeling compared to complaint-permitted baseline. Complaining eliminates victim mindset. But even with agent orientation, obsessive planning creates paralysis, preventing actual execution. Second habit destroys through opposite mechanism. Habit 2, excessive planning. Second destructive habit is excessive planning, spending disproportionate time perfecting plans rather than executing imperfect action. Eliminate planning beyond necessary minimum. Execute with adequate information. Stop perfectionist preparation paralysis. Excessive planning destroys execution capability by creating psychological safety in preparation phase, where you control all variables, avoiding execution phase, where reality provides feedback, threatening ego. Most people spend hours or days planning projects that could begin executing with 20 minutes preparation, researching optimal approaches, creating detailed schedules, organizing perfect systems, believing thorough planning ensures success when actually extended planning is sophisticated procrastination disguised as productivity. This pattern produces planning addiction, where you feel productive while planning, but avoid actual execution, producing knowledge accumulation without corresponding capability increase. Why elimination, not reduction, becomes clear examining planning function versus planning dysfunction. Functional planning identifies necessary information and establishes basic approach, spending minimum time required for adequate preparation before beginning execution. Dysfunctional planning continues past adequacy threshold, seeking perfect information and foolproof approach that don't exist, creating perpetual preparation without execution. Reducing excessive planning still permits continued preparation past functional point, just less extreme, while elimination forces immediate transition to execution once adequate information exists, preventing perfectionist planning continuing indefinitely. Research on bias for action confirms that execution with adequate preparation produces superior learning and results compared to extended planning, seeking comprehensive preparation, because execution provides reality feedback unavailable through planning alone. Consider new project requiring completion. Excessive planning pattern means spending week researching optimal approaches, reading 12 books about topic, creating detailed project plan with contingencies, organizing perfect workflow system, then finally beginning execution once everything is ready, except readiness never feels complete, so planning extends indefinitely, or execution begins so late that deadline pressure forces rushed work. Now consider identical project with elimination protocol. Spend 30 minutes identifying project requirements and general approach. Begin execution immediately with adequate understanding. Adapt approach based on reality feedback encountered during execution rather than attempting to predict all requirements in advance. First project produces extensive planning documentation and minimal results. Second produces immediate progress and continuous learning through execution feedback. Implementation requires establishing planning time limits, forcing transition to execution after adequate preparation. For any new project or task, allocate maximum 30 minutes planning time, identifying essential information. What outcome is required? What general approach will you use? What first action begins execution? After 30 minutes planning time expires, immediately begin execution, regardless of whether you feel fully prepared, which you never will, because perfect preparation is impossible for novel situations. During execution, when uncertainty appears, resist urge to return to extended planning mode. Make minimum viable decision, allowing continued progress rather than stopping to plan comprehensively. Track project completion times and quality outcomes, noting whether execution-biased approach produces superior results compared to planning-heavy approach, proving that execution provides better learning than extended preparation. Planning elimination creates execution bias. But even with immediate action, information addiction fragments attention, preventing sustained focus. Third habit destroys through different attention mechanism. Habit 3. Compulsive information consumption. Third destructive habit is compulsive information consumption, continuously ingesting news, content, and updates, creating perpetual cognitive load. Eliminate all non-essential information intake. Consume only directly actionable intelligence. Stop passive continuous consumption completely. Information consumption destroys focus capability by creating constant cognitive processing load, preventing sustained attention on demanding tasks requiring deep concentration. Most people consume information continuously throughout day, checking news multiple times, browsing social media repeatedly, watching content passively, reading articles about various topics, believing they're staying informed and learning when actually continuous consumption fragments attention, elevates anxiety through negative news exposure, and creates illusion of productivity while producing minimal actionable knowledge. This pattern prevents deep work capability because brain never experiences genuine quiet needed for complex problem solving, instead remaining in perpetual shallow processing mode, handling continuous information stream. Why complete elimination of non-essential consumption rather than curated moderation becomes clear examining attention, restoration requirements, and information addiction mechanisms. Attention is a depletable resource requiring rest periods for recovery through activities not demanding processing. However, information consumption, even curated valuable content, still demands processing, preventing attention restoration. Additionally, information consumption is genuinely addictive through variable ratio reinforcement. Sometimes you find interesting, valuable content creating dopamine hit, reinforcing checking behavior, but unpredictable timing creates strongest possible addiction pattern. Moderation approach, attempting only quality content limited times daily, maintains addiction mechanism and prevents attention restoration, while elimination of all non-essential consumption allows genuine restoration and breaks addiction pattern entirely. Consider typical day consuming information continuously, morning news while preparing, podcasts during commute, articles between tasks, social media during breaks, content during evening. Total consumption is 4 to 6 hours, creating perpetual cognitive load where brain never rests despite physical inactivity. When attempting focused work on demanding project, you struggle maintaining attention because cognitive capacity is depleted from continuous processing and stimulation. Threshold is elevated from constant novelty, requiring increasingly stimulating content for engagement. Now consider identical day with elimination protocol. 0 news consumption, 0 social media, 0 passive content, 0 articles unrelated to current project. Information consumption limited to direct research supporting current work requiring specific knowledge. Total consumption 30 minutes daily for targeted learning. Rest of day allows attention restoration through quiet. Focus capability is dramatically higher because cognitive resources are preserved. Complex problems feel engaging because stimulation threshold normalized. Track your actual information consumption objectively for complete day. Every time you check news, browse social media, watch content, read articles, note duration and whether consumption was actionable, directly applicable to current project, or passive, general interest or entertainment. Most people discover they consume 4 to 8 hours daily, with less than 5% being genuinely actionable knowledge. Rest is cognitive junk food, fragmenting attention and depleting resources without corresponding capability increase. This waste is completely preventable through systematic elimination. Implementation requires environmental design, preventing consumption access and establishing actionable-only filter. Remove all news and social media applications from phone, eliminating impulsive checking capability. Block entertainment and content websites during work hours using application-enforcing restrictions. Establish single 30-minute information window daily, allowing targeted research supporting current priorities. If you need specific knowledge for current project, you can research during window. If content is merely interesting, it's eliminated completely. Initially, elimination produces anxiety from missing out on current events and trending topics. But after 30 days, you realize you miss nothing important while recovering substantial attention capacity and cognitive clarity, impossible under continuous consumption pattern. Track deep work duration and quality, noting whether elimination dramatically improves sustained focus capability. Information elimination restores attention capacity. But even with clear thinking and adequate focus, depleted energy from poor recovery sabotages execution. Let's shift to energy drains. Energy drains. Habit 4, alcohol consumption. Fourth destructive habit is alcohol consumption of any frequency, impairing sleep architecture and cognitive recovery. Eliminate alcohol completely. No exceptions or special occasions. Stop all ethanol intake permanently. Alcohol consumption destroys recovery capability by disrupting sleep architecture, preventing deep sleep, and REM sleep essential for cognitive restoration, regardless of consumption timing or quantity. Most people consume alcohol recreationally, believing moderate consumption is harmless or potentially beneficial, not recognizing that any alcohol amount fragments sleep, preventing restorative deep sleep phases where memory consolidation, cellular repair, and hormonal regulation occur. This produces chronic partial sleep deprivation despite adequate time in bed, because sleep quality is compromised, creating persistent cognitive impairment, emotional instability, and reduced physical performance that people attribute to stress or aging, rather than recognizing preventable alcohol damage. Why complete elimination rather than moderate consumption becomes clear examining alcohol's metabolic effects and sleep disruption mechanisms. Alcohol metabolizes into acetaldehyde, toxic compound requiring processing that disrupts sleep architecture regardless of quantity. Single drink consumed hours before sleep still produces measurable sleep fragmentation, preventing deep sleep phases. Additionally, alcohol suppresses REM sleep, critical phase for emotional processing and memory consolidation, producing sleep that feels subjectively restful but lacks cognitive restoration, explaining why people feel fine after drinking but experience measurably impaired performance. Research confirms that even moderate consumption 2 to 3 times weekly produces cumulative sleep debt and cognitive impairment that complete elimination reverses within weeks, revealing dramatic capability increase previously blocked by maintained alcohol exposure. Consider typical pattern consuming alcohol 2 to 3 times weekly. Drinks with dinner, social events, weekend relaxation, believing moderate consumption is harmless part of balanced lifestyle. You sleep adequate hours but wake feeling slightly unrested. Midday energy drops noticeably. Cognitive tasks feel harder than they should. Mood is slightly unstable. These symptoms feel normal because they've persisted years but actually represent chronic mild impairment from disrupted sleep recovery. Now consider identical lifestyle with complete elimination. Sleep same hours but quality dramatically improves. Morning wake is genuinely refreshed. Midday energy remains stable. Cognitive performance increases noticeably. Mood stabilizes substantially. Same person, dramatically different capability through single change, eliminating substance preventing recovery. Implementation requires establishing zero-tolerance elimination protocol and replacing social ritual with alternative. Commit to 90-day complete elimination trial, providing sufficient time for sleep architecture, normalization, and cognitive recovery, revealing full benefits. Prepare response for social situations where drinking is expected. I don't drink, stated matter-of-factly without elaboration, prevents questioning better than defensive explanations. Replace drinking ritual with alternative beverage, sparkling water with lime, herbal tea, whatever provides ritual satisfaction without ethanol. Track sleep quality, using wearable if available or subjective assessment noting wake refreshment, and track cognitive performance through work output quality. After 90 days, compare performance metrics and subjective experience to pre-elimination baseline. Most people discover capability increase is so substantial that returning to consumption feels absurd once they experience unimpaired baseline. Alcohol elimination restores sleep quality. But even with perfect recovery, sedentary lifestyle depletes energy through deconditioning. Fifth habit destroys through physical mechanism. Habit 5. Sedentary default. Fifth destructive habit is sedentary default, remaining physically inactive throughout day, except dedicated exercise creating chronic low energy state. Eliminate prolonged sitting periods. Move frequently throughout day. Stop sedentary work patterns completely. Sedentary default destroys energy capability by creating physiological state where cardiovascular and metabolic systems operate at minimum baseline, producing chronic fatigue despite adequate sleep. Most people remain sedentary 8 to 12 hours daily, sitting for work, sitting for meals, sitting for entertainment, believing that dedicated 1-hour exercise session compensates for remaining inactivity. However, research confirms that prolonged sitting creates independent health risk that dedicated exercise doesn't fully mitigate, because sedentary periods trigger metabolic changes, reducing energy production, impairing glucose regulation, and decreasing cardiovascular function, producing persistent low-energy state, regardless of fitness level achieved during exercise sessions. Why movement throughout day, rather than merely dedicated exercise, becomes clear examining metabolic signaling and energy regulation. Prolonged sitting triggers metabolic downregulation, where body interprets inactivity as signal to conserve energy, reducing metabolic rate, decreasing insulin sensitivity, and limiting cardiovascular output. This downregulation persists for hours after sitting period ends, meaning afternoon sitting produces evening fatigue regardless of morning exercise. However, frequent movement throughout day, standing every 30 minutes, walking briefly, performing simple exercises, maintains metabolic activation, preventing downregulation, keeping energy systems operating at higher baseline. Additionally, frequent movement improves circulation, delivering oxygen and nutrients to brain, supporting sustained cognitive performance impossible under sedentary pattern, creating brain fog and attention deficit. Consider typical day sitting: 8 hours for work, sitting for meals, sitting for evening entertainment with 1-hour morning exercise session. Despite exercise, you feel persistently tired afternoon and evening, wondering why fitness training doesn't produce expected energy increase. Prolonged sitting throughout day creates metabolic downregulation that morning exercise cannot overcome, because sitting triggers independent damage pathway. Now consider identical day with sedentary elimination. Same 1-hour morning exercise, but during workday, you stand every 30 minutes walking briefly, perform bodyweight exercises hourly, take walking meetings when possible, use standing desk for portions of work. Afternoon and evening energy remains substantially higher because continuous movement maintained metabolic activation, preventing downregulation that sitting produced. Track your actual movement pattern objectively for complete day. How many total hours do you spend sitting for work, meals, commute, entertainment? How long is your longest continuous sitting period without movement break? Most people discover they sit 10 to 12 hours daily with 4 to 6 hour continuous sitting periods, creating severe metabolic downregulation, explaining persistent fatigue, blamed on insufficient sleep or inadequate fitness, when actual cause is maintained sedentary pattern that dedicated exercise doesn't address, because downregulation occurs independently of fitness level. Implementation requires establishing movement protocols, preventing prolonged sitting throughout day. Set timer alerting every 30 minutes during seated work, requiring immediate movement response. Stand and walk. Perform 20 bodyweight squats. Stretch for 2 minutes, whatever breaks sitting pattern. Use standing desk if available, alternating sitting and standing throughout day. Convert stationary activities to movement opportunities. Walking meetings, phone calls taken while pacing, content consumption during treadmill walking. Goal is eliminating any sitting period exceeding 45 minutes, preventing metabolic downregulation through continuous activation. Track subjective energy levels throughout day, noting whether movement protocol produces dramatically more stable, sustained energy compared to sedentary baseline. After 30 days, most people report that persistent afternoon fatigue has disappeared through eliminated sitting pattern, revealing it was positional, not metabolic origin. Movement elimination restores metabolic function, but even with physical energy, toxic relationships drain psychological resources, preventing effective action. Let's shift to social toxins. Social toxins. Habit 6. Chronic negative relationships. Sixth destructive habit is maintaining relationships with chronically negative people who consistently drain energy and reinforce limiting beliefs. Eliminate toxic relationships completely. No negotiation or attempted fixing. Stop exposure to negative influence permanently. Negative relationships destroy psychological resources by creating continuous emotional labor, managing other people's dysfunction while absorbing their limiting beliefs and victim narratives. Most people maintain relationships with toxic individuals, chronic complainers, perpetual victims, aggressive critics, emotional manipulators. Believing loyalty requires continued connection or hoping to help person improve. This produces constant energy drain handling drama, providing emotional support that's never reciprocated, and defending against criticism or manipulation, creating exhaustion and gradually adopting negative person's limiting worldview through repeated exposure. Additionally, toxic relationships normalize dysfunction, making your own destructive patterns seem acceptable through comparison rather than maintaining high standards through association with excellent individuals. Why complete elimination rather than boundary setting becomes clear examining emotional contagion and belief transmission. Emotions and beliefs spread through social networks like viruses. Exposure to chronically negative person transmits their negativity regardless of conscious resistance, because emotional contagion operates below conscious awareness through mirror neurons and social proof mechanisms. Setting boundaries reduces exposure frequency, but maintains infection vector, allowing continued transmission, just slower rate. Complete elimination removes transmission entirely, preventing contagion and creating space for relationships with positive individuals whose excellence elevates your standards, rather than toxic individuals whose dysfunction normalizes mediocrity. Consider maintaining friendship with chronically negative person who constantly complains about life circumstances, criticizes your ambitious goals as unrealistic, and demands emotional support without reciprocation. Each interaction leaves you drained and slightly less confident in your goals, having absorbed their victim narrative and limiting beliefs. You believe maintaining friendship is loyal, and perhaps you're helping them, not recognizing that continued relationship is making you more like them rather than making them more like you, because negative influence is stronger than positive influence in emotional contagion dynamics. Now consider identical life with elimination. You end relationship cleanly, explaining that your life is going different direction. Initial guilt fades within weeks. Energy previously spent managing their dysfunction becomes available for productive activities. Your goal confidence increases because you're no longer absorbing their limiting beliefs. And relationship space allows connection with positive individuals, reinforcing excellence rather than dysfunction. Implementation requires honest assessment, identifying truly toxic relationships and executing clean elimination. Distinguish between temporarily struggling individuals deserving temporary support versus chronically negative individuals who have maintained dysfunction for years, showing no genuine change effort. Toxic relationship is identified by chronic complaining without action, repeated crises requiring your intervention, criticism of your goals and growth, emotional manipulation creating guilt or obligation, energy drain where every interaction leaves you worse than before. Once identified, eliminate cleanly through direct conversation if possible, or gradual fade if direct would create excessive drama. Do not attempt to fix person or maintain limited contact. These half measures fail because toxic pattern persists. Track psychological resources and goal confidence, noting whether elimination produces dramatically increased energy and self-belief compared to relationship-maintained baseline. Negative relationships eliminate psychological resource drain, but even with positive social environment, social media exposure reintroduces comparison and validation seeking. Final habit completes elimination. Habit 7, mindless scrolling and algorithmic feeds. Seventh destructive habit is mindless scrolling through algorithmic feeds, opening apps just to see what's new and letting recommendation systems decide what enters your mind. Eliminate open-ended feed consumption completely. Keep only intentional, time-boxed use for specific purposes. Stop letting algorithms curate your attention by default. Mindless scrolling destroys strategic attention by transforming your mind into passive target of commercial recommendation systems whose objective isn't your growth, but your retention. Most people don't consciously decide what to watch or read. They open platform homepage or feed and accept whatever appears, allowing algorithms trained on engagement metrics to shape their thoughts, desires, and emotional state. This pattern feels harmless because much of content appears entertaining or even informative, but attention governance has been outsourced completely, which is incompatible with samurai-level intentionality. Important distinction. The problem isn't using platforms or watching a specific video with deliberate intention, like choosing to watch this video to study samurai systems. The problem is entering platforms without defined objective and surrendering attention to infinite scroll and recommendation sidebars. Samurai used tools deliberately as weapons or instruments, never as toys used absent-mindedly. In digital age, platforms are mental weapons. They must be wielded deliberately, not fondled absently. Instead of total social media abstinence, elimination target becomes unbounded algorithmic consumption. This means no opening apps or sites via home feed to see what's there. No infinite scroll sessions without start and end defined in advance. No letting up next or for you dictate next piece of content automatically. You use platforms like library or training hall, not like casino. Library mode means entering with specific topic, question, or video in mind, consuming that intentionally, then closing platform when objective completes. Casino mode means entering to see what happens, which must be eliminated completely. Implementation requires 3 structural rules. Purpose first rule. Never open YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or any feed-based platform without clear purpose sentence you could write in one line. I am opening YouTube to watch specifically X or to study topic Y for N minutes. If no clear purpose exists, you do not open platform. Feed avoidance rule. Access content only through direct search, saved playlists or direct links, not through home feed or infinite suggestion column. On YouTube, this means using search bar or watch later list rather than scrolling home or shorts endlessly. Time box rule, every intentional session gets fixed duration before start, for example, 15 or 20 minutes, with timer visible. When time ends, platform closes regardless of how tempting one more suggestion looks. Complete elimination. Sequence. Complete elimination protocol integrates all 7 habits in strategic sequence, preventing overwhelm while ensuring sustainable, permanent change. Weeks 1 through 3 eliminate cognitive destroyers. Stop all reactive complaining, replacing with action planning. Establish 30-minute planning limits, forcing immediate execution. Eliminate non-essential information consumption, restricting to targeted, actionable research. These 3 changes restore strategic thinking capability and sustained attention required for subsequent eliminations. Weeks 4 through 6 eliminate energy drains. Stop all alcohol consumption, allowing sleep architecture normalization. Eliminate prolonged sitting, implementing movement protocol throughout day. These changes restore physical energy and cognitive function, supporting relationship changes requiring resources. Weeks 7 through 9 eliminate social toxins. End all toxic relationships cleanly without attempted fixing. Delete all social media accounts, permanently removing comparison and validation mechanisms. These final changes create positive social environment, supporting maintained eliminations. After 9 weeks systematic elimination, most people report capability has transformed fundamentally. Strategic thinking is clear because complaining victim narrative was eliminated. Execution is immediate. Energy is stable because alcohol, sleep disruption, and sedentary downregulation were eliminated. Psychological resources are abundant because toxic relationships and social media comparison were removed. This isn't temporary improvement from increased discipline. It's permanent capability increase from removed destructive patterns that were systematically impairing function regardless of positive habits established.